Subaru in the true timeline of ReZero, Season 1 and Season 2 remastered. Video by Kazutrash.
A few years ago now, I made 2 of my most popular videos on the channel, which basically act as recaps for what events stuck, the lives where Subaru Natsuki succeeded, and what events will be forever forgotten by our array of supporting cast members destined to live in a world without everyone's favorite and hated previously shut-in NEAT.
Now this idea, right, the idea of the ReZero canon timeline that Kazutrash was just kind of describing, this is a relatively new idea to me, right? Even as a ReZero fan of, holy shit, damn, a ReZero fan of 8 years, I'm yo, holy. But even as a ReZero fan of 8 years, the idea of the canon timeline is something that's new to me, right? I think someone said in my comments that this was sort of an idea within the ReZero community that was worth exploring. But basically, right, you have to take into account that we as viewers get to see every timeline, everything that happens with Subaru. But, you know, the characters in the story, they don't see that. For them, there is just one continuous timeline, one continuous series of events that define, you know, the story of ReZero. And so I want to look, you know, through this video at this canon chain of events that make up ReZero, you know, the canon events that the characters within the show would recognize. Because I think when you look at Subaru and the things that happen without the context of, you know, everything that, you know, was wiped from the timeline, all the loops that failed, when you think about it from that perspective, when you look at Subaru from that perspective, you almost end up with an entirely different character and story than what we've come to know, right? And so I want to kind of see how that looks and see, and see what the Subaru that the characters within ReZero, that Subaru, I want to see how that Subaru compares to the Subaru that we know.
Basically viewing the story through everyone else besides Subaru looking in. And usually what that appears as is either a valiant knight with godlike omniscience, incredible luck, and some seriously impressive leadership skills, or a supremely pathetic and downright disgusting human being.
And I think, low-key, that's probably what makes Subaru so strange, right? Because sometimes he is really on his shit, right? When he finally knows what to do, when he's finally gathered all his information, when he finally has his confidence, and, you know, he probably appears like, I don't want to say Reinhardt level, right? Because, you know, Reinhardt's a bit different, but he probably appears damn near Reinhardt level, at least in terms of like what he's able to execute. But obviously to us, we know all the shit it takes for him to get there.
Basically, a guy with some seriously scarily intense mood swings. That or a personality disorder or something. And you know what? With ReZero's 3rd season right around the corner,
yeah, this video is old, so this was back during when Season 3 was first coming out. So what, a year ago? Probably.
Them both and slap.
Hey, stop this fucking Reinhardt disrespecting my chat, bro. We respect the big R around here. I will ban niggas.
Wait a minute, there's one video right here. By the way, for the name pronunciations, I'll be using the dub names for this video. Anything they say in the dub, I'll be saying as well. If you don't like that, hate the dub, not me. So, without further ado, let the ReZero remaster begin, I suppose. Motherfuckers thought I forgot. After his convenience store run went awry.
I'm not gonna lie, hold on. Run that back. That's some good looking food in the convenience store now that I'm really looking at it. They got like chicken up there. Interesting.
Subaru Natsuki spawned into the royal capital of Lagunica with his convenience store goods in hand. I really do wonder what this looked like to nearby passerby, since we see them walking around him as if not even noticing the—
I've heard theories, and I don't want to get into it too much, right? But I've heard that he didn't spawn in. I've heard a theory, a prevailing theory, is that he didn't spawn in, and that this was just kind of like another return by death cycle, and that for whatever reason, he was here in this city square, which, you know, that just makes me interested to see where this series goes all the way around. I wouldn't be surprised if it's almost like a big ass time loop or some shit like that.
Very oddly dressed and equipped Japanese teen's presence.
But wait, that doesn't make any sense. How would he have the Japanese clothes on? And yeah, true. Yo, what the fuck is this? Yo, they had so many more Beastmen in like early ReZero and what we have now. Look at this sloth nigga over here. Hold on. Was this foreshadowing? Why would they put a sloth here? And then the first cult, the first Sin Archbishop he was fixing to fight was going to be sloth? Niggas didn't peep. Niggas didn't peep the foreshadowing. That's very interesting. That's very interesting.
Perhaps his body was already there? This is where stuff really gets interesting.
He goes to buy the Appa.
Appa Merchant, also known as Subaru's first checkpoint in his new video game-esque life. What this means for us is we're free to skip 3 deaths at this point. This vaguely noble-looking...
Right, because his first checkpoint was the Appas. And he kept cycling back to there. So honestly, shit was probably just weird for the Appa dealer because he kept coming back like... You know what I mean? And that always made me wonder, like, does Return by Death choose moments when he's just not talking? You know what I mean? Does it choose moments when when he's just like kind of silent and stagnant? Or does he sometimes be mid-conversation and just goes like that? You know what I mean?
17-year-old weirdly asked the merchant how many times he's seen him, to which Canomon obviously replied only 1, and then the kid confidently declared he's broke beyond compare and dashed away. Only 4 minutes later to return out of breath asking questions about any pickpocketing incidents around here lately, then promising to buy an Appa in the future and running off again.
Did the Appa merchant ever come back? I don't know why he looks familiar, like he came back or something.
What a fucking weirdo. Then he encountered some crooks who...
I'm not gonna lie, we came a long way from getting our shit rocked by these bums over here, bro.
Who he seemed weirdly familiar with, and smartly called the guards for help, which he 1001% received in the form of Reinhardt Van Astrea. Wow.
Yeah, that shit is still wild, bro. The fact that Reinhardt pulled up when he called for help, like you gotta imagine the verse equivalent. This is like, we don't even have an equivalent in our verse, bro. This is like you're getting mugged. Oh my God, fucking internet brain rot is frying my brain. This is like you're getting mugged and like the US military pulls up to help you, bro. Like, what's going on?
While having Reinhardt deal with that, he continued his mad dash loot house bound after denying the, unknown to Subaru of course, godlike Master Swordsman's aid in defeating Elsa out of fear for the knight's safety.
Oh yeah, true.
Laughable. That's laughable, Subaru. Finally, in the slums, Felt found him suspiciously rustling through her house. But then, after dropping her name out of nowhere, he attempted to quickly trade his Metia for a hefty 20+ holy...
He did. Yo, I missed that fucking cell phone he had. And wasn't that shit wild clutch in defeating the white whale? I kind of wish... Actually, it would have kind of became gimmicky after a while. But I do wish he kind of used some of his more, like, Earth technology stuff to help him out a little bit. I feel like that would be fun. This is an old ass phone though. Do we know canonically what year this ReZero shit takes place? Because this has to be like early 2000s.
Coins. But she was first required to double check the accuracy of this boy's assessment with Rom. Whoever this Subaru guy is really wanted this deal done and quick, as he may as well have been dragging her at their pace.
And I'm pretty sure he's met Amelia by now, right?
After talking about her dream of escaping the slums, he randomly patted her on the head, babbling about the fact that he's gonna make this all somehow work out. Whatever that means. Upon arrival and just before the negotiation for the Metia was complete, Subaru let it slip that Elsa wouldn't go over 20 coins when she arrived. Which Subaru definitely shouldn't know at this point unless...
Yeah, that nigga was low-key letting his omniscience slip time and time again early on. This is like the second time so far he's let it slip.
He was working along...
Like, low-key, bro, if anyone has suspicions, like if anyone in this show would have, who's still in the show at least, should have suspicions about Subaru, it should be Felt, bro. Because this was him before, like, he even knew to, like, keep his mouth shut in any degree.
Side the buyer, so Felt held off on the deal after becoming fairly suspicious of the tracksuit wearing individual, whatever a tracksuit is. While straight up begging Felt to just do the trade now, would then come Amelia, who immediately began demanding the thief her stolen pendant back, which led Felt to her conclusion of Subaru setting them up, leading to the greater confusion of Amelia, who's never seen this guy in her life. I love this part.
Okay, so this is where they met. I thought they had met earlier. Didn't they meet? I don't know why I have a vague memory of them meeting back in the city, but I guess I'm tripping.
In particular, because it's at this point everyone realized nobody knows what the hell Subaru is even doing here. Well, with one last idea of what he could be. an accomplice to Elsa. Suddenly forcing fear and panic was the woman of the hour, who appeared from the darkness to slice Amelia's bowels.
Yep.
Luckily, Subaru shouted for Puck to shield her, and he did, just in time too. In my initial video, I called this part out that it's weird how 1, Subaru knows about Puck, and that 2, he knows Puck's capabilities, and yet this is never brought up again.
Oh wait, was that true? Did he know about Puck already?
This was brought up again in a fucking chibi short. Why?
Is this?
What?
Okay,
Why?
interesting. I'm learning something here.
Weird thing to tuck away in some random
Did you notice that when Elsa
comedic
first
spin-off,
attacked,
but the conversation doesn't
called
really
out
go
my
anywhere
name?
there anyway. They just call him suspicious and move on, which they're not wrong.
So we don't know why he knows Puck. Is that that could be one of 3 things in my mind? It's either an oversight from the author early on in the writing his story. It was after a bunch of deaths. Oh, okay. So Unc might just be tweaking.
If I was Amelia and Puck, I'd be convinced Subaru is a stalker. Like a really hardcore stalker. But anyway, he'd go on to utter, "Do you know how much having your stomach cut open hurts? Because I do." Continuing to
Think about how crazy that shit is. Yo, Subaru low-key be vague posting, bruh. Let's talk about it. Like, to these niggas, he really out here vague posting. You know how much it hurts to have your stomach cut open? Because I do. How do you know that, bruh? Obviously, we know how he knows that. But, like, why is he saying this shit out loud? Like, anyone will be able to relate to him. And then and he's saying this knowing damn well he can't talk about his what's it called? His return by death. And so, like, this is probably the weird shit. Like, they're probably looking at Subaru like, bro, what the hell is this dude talking about?
heighten how much of a psycho he looks like. Elsa didn't care though. In fact, it took less than no time at all to push the 4 into a corner.
Damn,
so much
she was whooping Amelia ass. You good over there, bro? Yo, I'm trying to make sure you're good, bruh. Dang. Bro be getting mad cranky when I wake him up because he's over there like... Anyhow.
so that Felt needed to dash away in hopes of finding some help, begging anyone she could find to lend them aid. And she received so much more than just aid. God misheard the word guard and came down
Said her
instead.
big
Reinhard van
Reinhardt.
Astrea makes his return, saving
My goat. Everyone clap it up for my goat. Especially all you niggas who were hating earlier. Clap or ban right now. Clap or ban. That's the new rule. Goat. What is with this hate? This continuous hate. They just hate to see someone like winning out here.
this whole day from ending in complete slaughter for the quartet. With one final blow to Elsa, the loot house
That was so overkill though. Did Elsa need all of this? Did she actually need all of this?
basically exploded and the day was saved. Though the bowel hunting Dami Mommy
Golly. Let me lock in though.
Mommy did escape. Subaru quickly asked Amelia's name before passing out, to which she hurriedly healed our main character to stabilize him, thankfully saving this loop. Then Reinhard curiously questioned what her relationship to the boy is, but obviously this was her first time seeing him as well, perplexing the knight even further. He'd go on to relay the message told by Subaru to inform Amelia if he saw her beforehand, which basically boiled down to, "Don't worry about the insignia problem, I'll fix things."
Okay. So far, there's nothing too crazy. So far, if I'm in this show, right, as a passive observer next to, let's say, Amelia, I'm thinking of Subaru as pretty strange. I'm probably thinking he might have a little bit of a, he might be a little special, have a little bit of a mental issue, but I'm not really thinking anything too suspicious of him. I don't think he's giving anything away too crazy yet, but it's still very early on.
And after hearing this, Amelia understandably decided to take him back to the Roswell mansion for questioning. Alrighty, before he woke up, Beatrice would finalize the healing of Subaru's wounds, and later, after she went through all the trouble of setting up a never-ending hallway trap,
Was this painting right here foreshadowing to the woods that Subaru would be fighting in later this season? Y'all not peeping the foreshadowing.
boy would
Rosewall, why do you have the exact woods painted in your house? We got to open a dialogue on Rosewall. This is a long ass fucking hallway too. What do you need all of this crib for, dog? And why does he got big ass titty shapes on his thing with the nipple?
Annoyingly discovered.
I already knew he was a freak, but come on, Rosewall.
For the resident Great Spirit with ease. Betty didn't miss a beat though and delivered a painful blow to the human, draining him of all of his mana to confirm he was in fact not an enemy, causing him to pass out once more, where he was brought back to his bed yet again, marking his second checkpoint. 4 deaths later, Subaru
Damn, yeah, he was getting his ass abused for like a good 2 episodes after he hit the mansion.
uttered, "I'm back here again." This time with Rem and Rom at his bedside, who were
Ah, yes, this frame. we have progressed so far in the series from here. Y'all don't know how platinum this frame went back in like ReZero's like early prime, bruh.
understandably quite confused, as this was definitely the first time this odd man had ever been here, who I should note was still emanating the Witch of Envy's pungent scent.
Oh yeah, does he still smell like the Witch of Envy? They don't really bring that up anymore, huh? I remember season 1, they was constantly talking about his booth. But now they just kind of accept it, huh? Like, damn, that nigga, yeah, he smells like the Witch of Envy. And what do they... Surely they don't mean like... Do they mean like an actual physical smell? Shala did say he stinks. But I also think he hasn't bathed in a while, too. Like, what did the Witch of Envy smell like that was that bad? I always thought this was like a weird mana signature sort of thing. But is it like an actual scent?
Following some out-of-place jovial joking with the twins, Subaru suddenly grabbed a hold of both of their hands, resulting in a sigh of relief from Subaru, but leading to a more so creeped-out emotion bubbling in the twins, who were logically assuming he's some sort of pervert. Soon after, Amelia walked in to check on Sue, where he suddenly appeared far happier upon just seeing her face and blurted out, "You were the wonder drug my heart needed."
Oh, he was on some bullshit, and he's really developed as a character. That's why I like going back and watching stuff like this, because you see moments where you're like, oh yeah, he grew. You know what I mean? You don't really notice it unless you go back. And I guess that's why rewatching things can be interesting, because you're able to pick up on smaller details or smaller things that changed. But I feel like he just like, it reminds me of like after a dude or a girl gets like their first boyfriend or girlfriend and they kind of cool it a little bit. You know what I mean? They not like he chilled a lot, bruh.
Amelia didn't really understand that though, because I doubt the ReZero world is medically advanced enough to have anything like a wonder drug. You know how in season 2 Garfield has all those one-liners that make zero sense to us at all? I feel like that's exactly what everyone else feels like talking to Subaru, which...
Yeah, like again, at this point, we've already established that Subaru in their mind is probably weird as fuck. And he stinks. And he smells like the Witch of Envy. There's like no trust in him at this point. Even now, I'd imagine in canon, since not that much time has passed, I would imagine there's like limited trust, but just like an acceptance that whatever is up with this dude, hey, I'm just glad that he's on our side.
I have to believe was Nagatsuki's intention, and I absolutely love that. Then, Subaru's request to start work here at the mansion was heeded by Roswell, and his life as a butler began. During his first lunch break, he hung out with Puck and Amelia, the former letting Subaru know all about the basics of the mechanics of magic and the different types. Subaru ended up with the rather rare affinity for shadow magic, and...
Which, again, I feel like we forgot about that too, right? Was I the only one where when it turned out he had shadow magic, I was like... Okay, this has to be some witch related shit right here. This, or I could be tweaking, right? But shadow magic is usually like pinned on like some evil shit. I don't know. I remember early on that had me looking sideways.
And in a no less than terrifying display by Puck, he figured out how to cast Shamok, albeit very roughly at the moment, since this was his first time ever using magic. During that evening, Ross and Rom were discussing Subaru. In terms of abilities, he's completely incompetent, but when it counts, he can be excessively...
Yo, get off my girl Rom, Rosewall! Damn, this shit used to piss me off, bruh. I remember they was on some whole other shit, bruh. This made me deeply uncomfortable.
Quick-witted. It may be necessary to keep an eye on him for the time being. Subaru, even later into the night, out of nowhere, asked...
Right, I forgot Beatrice and Subaru used to like... They didn't have beef, But Betty was very snappy with my boy, I suppose. Like, she was not rocking with him early on.
A shaman's attack, and Beatrice laid out the facts of it being impossible to counter a curse once it's activated and must be detected before it is to nullify it. And the next day, unlike yesterday's, far more relaxed and
like, I feel like he don't do this shit anymore, bruh. Why did you just jump in front of her and get into fucking defensive stance? I'm glad he kind of, you know, mellowed out in that regard.
likable attitude. Their
Look at this nigga's little ass collar too. He definitely didn't put that on right. Nigga got like half an inch worth of collar poking out.
guest turned butler woke up with a disgustingly unnatural burst of energy. He spent the whole morning running around doing the most amount of chores he could while trying to please everyone.
Yo, he was doing the most early on.
State pleased nobody. Amelia and Puck obviously took notice of Subaru's mental state, commenting on Subaru's insides and outside being completely different. This continued until Subaru is already.
So I've heard jokes that like in canon they probably think he's like manic or, you know, suffering from some sort of personality disorder. Yeah, I think that kind of tracks, I'm not gonna lie.
Pretty sinking ship eventually capsized as he puked into a sink. With his physical appearance wearing thin and his mental exhaustion finally reaching its peak, Amelia requested he come to her room. Here, our protagonist assertively received a lap pillow from Amelia, who
yes.
granted the boy some.
Yo, do y'all remember his season 1 lap pillow fixation? I feel like that was cool for the season. But if they would have dragged that out season over season, it would have gotten tiring. Like, I think the ReZero author is low key. I don't want to say like he's intelligent for like leaving some stuff behind in the early parts of his story, right? Like, I think of anime. And there are a lot of anime that would have played that lap pillow bit for like a lot longer, you know what I mean? Or they would have like played, it kind of reminds me of like Denji's wanting to touch boobs. And obviously with both the lap pillow and the boobs, there's like, you know, deeper stuff that's, you know, beneath that. But I feel like if you don't pivot from that sort of characterization quickly, you risk becoming annoying, right? And I feel like the fact that, you know, he was able to leave that and be like, okay, like that part is done. Like, I don't know if I'm the only one, and maybe it was the amount of time that it took between season 1 and season 2. You know, it was enough time that I was able to grow as a person. Like, it was like 5 years, right? I literally went from being like a freshman in high school to, I think, a freshman in college in that time. Or maybe a sophomore in high school. Regardless, like, I feel like season 2 and onward, from a writing perspective, not even just visually, it's not really a studio thing. But from season 2 and onward, and maybe it's just in my head, I feel like the series took a different tone than what season 1 had. And I wasn't sure if I liked it at first, but now I've come to appreciate it more. Just how it's like a bit more, I don't want to say serious, right? But it feels like Subaru is no longer a struggling like teenager anymore. Where it's like, you know, you can kind of feel that he put his big boy pants on as the story progressed.
A much needed respite. The moment he stopped distracting himself from his own mind was the moment he would break down and tearfully weep onto her skin. Even though Amelia didn't know what was happening with Subaru, she consoled him nonetheless. Halfway through that same night, the newly nicknamed Bayako's door crossing was broken through for the second time now without her permission, yet again with complete ease. At first, it seemed the boy's reasoning was just to rant to the librarian about his embarrassment.
Yeah, like I get like age-wise, Subaru is 18. But I mean, like, this is gonna sound crazy. Don't take this out of context. But experience-wise, he's been through way more than most 18-year-olds would ever have to go through. You know what I mean? So I feel like he's effectively, in terms of maturity, older than 18. You know what I mean? It's like when we used to send, like, I mean, we still kind of do, but not really. It's not really as prevalent. But it's like when we used to have to send 18-year-olds to war. You know what I mean? I'm sure an 18-year-old that got sent fresh to war, you know, or I'm sure a 19, 20-year-old coming back from war is going to be on is going to be way more mature than even probably like a 25-year-old, 26-year-old who never has to experience that. You clip, but good points. Yeah, I knew niggas was going to try to clip me, so I made sure I made sure there was no like misassociation here. Dev, you got to catch this time. Good shit, Mose.
Evening before informing her of his primary objective for barging in so late at night. A question: can curses be detected before they're activated? The answer, yes. And some extra insight, they can only be placed through physical contact. By the way, in his little monologue talking to himself out loud here, Subaru literally says that he died. He admitted to dying, right here.
Oh shit, did he? Damn. So it's weird. He can talk around Return by Death, right? He can apparently say out loud, yeah, I have died before. I guess he just can't get into the details of what allowed him to come back. But again, from Byako's perspective, this is probably like, yo, what is dog talking about? He died? Dog, what?
Here, while muttering to himself in front of Beatrice. Then, after excitedly exclaiming how it all fits now, he hoisted the lolly up and professed his love for her while swinging her around the room, before she, of course, blasted him down, knocking him unconscious. Also, I'm just gonna assume every time Betty knocks Subaru out, she has to drag him all the way back to his bed personally. Tomorrow came and it was time to visit Arlem Village for some radio calisthenics. Alright, afterward, the maids learned their new pet names Subaru told the kids to give them. Subaru was bitten by a
Oh yeah, damn, I forgot this whole arc, huh?
dog, and for some reason that meant his mission in the village was complete. Next up, back to Beatrice. Here she noticed his actually prophetic curse and reminded him that once it's activated, he will die. Weirdly though, upon hearing that, his expression failed to really change at all, which disturbed Betty. In fact, he seemed to almost be enjoying this. Eventually though, she agreed to cure it. And with her doing so, Subaru learned who placed the curse. The puppy the village kids were fostering.
Damn, I forgot about, I knew seeing that puppy again made me get bad vibes. And now I remember it was because of that.
Leading now to a complete change in Subaru's expression as he rushed off to explain the situation to the maids. Rem decided to come along, and next stop, well, back to the village. Here they learned a bunch of the village kids had gone missing while they
What was the villain in this village? Was it like a bunch of dogs, or was that early on? I remember him getting mauled by some dogs in the woods.
Were gone, along with one of the barrier crystals that was protecting the village to be broken. So the two rushed to the forest to save the kids, which they succeeded in doing. On the way back, though,
yeah, it was these dogs. Yeah, because I remember thinking they looked like, what's that Pokemon name that's based off the Doberman? Houndoom or something?
Almost became demon dog food. Thankfully, Rem was at his side to save his life. He still passed out, though. Following that, come morning, Subaru awoke next to Puck, who applauded him for his correct judgment of the curse. He then visited all the kids to make sure they were safe, and Betty met Barusu at the village gate, who was quite put off when Subaru didn't seem all too worried after she once more reminded him of his impending death less than a day away.
Yeah, again, this nigga does not care about death. I feel like Betty knows something we don't know, bruh. Or obviously we know. Betty knows something everyone else doesn't know. You know, and maybe that's part of why she was willing to stake out a contract with Subaru. But like, I feel like she probably doesn't know the full scope of Return by Death. But she knows he has like some sort of limited omniscience, prophecy-like ability. She's seen him say he died. She knows he doesn't care about death. I mean, I feel like if you think about it long enough and you put those three things together, you can probably like low-key put A and B together. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's just interesting, right? Like, Subaru can leave context clues to his situation. He just can't say it outright.
Conversation
and he stinks like a witch. Like, yeah, that's the big one I keep forgetting, right? Like, all those things combined probably look extremely suspicious from a third-person point of view.
Continued, which eventually led to Subaru being told how to eliminate the curses placed on him in the forest by death of the caster. Upon learning of this earlier, Rem rushed off to slay some hellhounds, and an eavesdropping Rom overheard this and departed as well to save her sister, so Barusu joined in. Eventually, they found a demonically enraged Rem, so they
was homegirl was squabbling out here. I'm not gonna lie, she needed to take that gluttony nap, bruh. She was wildin'.
Enacted the twin sister's plan to return her to normal and knocked her out, and got the hell out of Dodge with Rem in hands. Speaking of, she woke up a few minutes later with her demon form dissipated, and was greeted by a quick headbutt from Subaru for blaming herself while casually...
Yeah, like, this is the shit. We keep saying like, yeah, bro, they probably think Subaru is weird because of, you know, circumstances around return by death and a lack of context. But we got to remember, this nigga Subaru is also just weird. Because who just headbutts somebody, bro? What like, do you know the type of person you have to be to think about headbutting somebody? Like, that's not something that naturally comes to a normal nigga's head. Like, I want to have a physical expression of aggression or sternness or something. I'm going to headbutt you. I'm going to put cranium to your cranium. It's not like a regular thing. So as weird as Subaru probably looks without return by death context, he also just looks weird in general because of the way he acts. I think those two things combined really stack to make Subaru like a very mysterious character in the quote-unquote canon timeline.
Giving her an inspirational speech, all the while criticizing her rather emotionally driven actions. Then, when they dreadfully came across the big boss of the Allgarm, the new recruit ordered the twins to run in a valiant display of self-sacrifice. Thankfully, they didn't make it far before Roswaal appeared back from his business meeting and destroyed all the surrounding...
This was back when we really thought Roswaal was a dog, bro. I remember thinking Roswaal was like up there in the verse, bro. Like around this point, I was like, oh, Roswaal, he might, you feel me? He might be like one of them Reinhardt type characters.
Mob beasts, thus saving Subaru from the curse once and
he had his little hat too, his top hat.
and for all. Then Barsu received a face full of elated, joy-filled tears from Rem before passing out. Afterward which they'd carry the boy to his bed for some well-deserved rest. And Rem decided to comfort Subaru through his nightmares once more through some bedside hand-holding. Almost as thanks, not even 5 minutes upon waking up would Subaru give Rem yet another speech. This time about how she's her own person and not just her...
Oh yeah, damn. I mean, I didn't really forget this, but I forgot how much this scene had hit back when. Damn.
her sister's replacement, resulting in the blue-haired maid weeping tears of joy.
And this is probably when Rem really fell for him, like heavily. And what this makes me wonder, is that, okay, obviously we as viewers, right? We see Subaru as like an admirable dude because of things related to return by death, right? We can see his perseverance. We can see the amount of care he puts into people who, you know, are essentially strangers. We can see he's a kind-hearted dude. And we also, you know, we don't have as many gaps in information that make him look strange. But for a character like Rem, she dead fell in love with this strange, weird, headbutting, self-talking to ass dude. Like, she had to really, really like this dude to be able to look past just the baseline weirdness of him, you know what I mean? And he smells.
Is just full of speeches today. By the way, Meili escaped the village, but she will be back in due time. That night, Subaru had done what no...
I mean, shit, Subaru got his lick back now in the current shit, right?
Anime protagonist had done before and asked Amelia out on a date, which she agreed to for tomorrow. Though, tomorrow, it was time.
I'm not gonna lie, Soup. We should have predicted the I Love Amelia scene. I didn't even peep this back when I was watching it. But we should have predicted the I Love Amelia scene when they had this meaningful ass interaction between Rem and Subaru, obviously hinting at growing feelings, at least on Rem's end. And then we immediately apparently see Subaru going to ask Amelia on a date, bruh. Just immediately afterwards.
Had done what no anime protagonist had done before and asked Amelia out on a date, which she agreed to for tomorrow. Though tomorrow it was time for Puck's magic release period, so instead of that date they had a snow festival hosted by Mr. Natsuki himself, where everyone got drunk as shit and also started appreciating Subaru a whole lot more. Whoever this guy is, wherever he came from, has been an absolutely positive addition to this mansion.
Nah, dead ass. And I think this kind of, and I actually think we're going to stop here. We're probably going to have to take like 2, 3, 4 videos to get through this whole video, because I really want to dig through arc by arc, right? And this is right, this is like probably the least complex arc, the opening arc. There was the OVA. I do remember that. Did that OVA take place here? But yeah, anyway, what I was about to say was, this to me just kind of shows that, like, again, like I was saying earlier, They accept Subaru because of his results, but especially in this point in the story, I doubt they were really able to pin him down, right? It's like, okay, this dude shows up, you know, is obsessed with Amelia. Absolutely obsessed, okay? Dude shows up, is obsessed with Amelia, wants to live in the mansion, has these random, inconceivable, like manic looking mood swings that they don't know where they come from, right? You know, to them, he's just I wish we knew, like, I wish we saw a little bit before. What am I trying to say? When a return by death loop happens, I wish we saw the seconds leading up to it, right? Like, if I was getting returned by death right now, what? like, does it cut him off mid-sentence? Does it look for a time and when he's kind of just still and stagnant and quiet? Because if he's locking out mid-sentence and like, like screaming, you know what I mean? That's a lot different than if he's sitting there in silence and screaming. Either way, it's going to look crazy. But I do think there's like, it looks different from a third person perspective. But anywho, like, I feel like the characters at this point, they kind of accept him because of his results, especially in season 1. But they probably can't really pin down. What the fuck is up with him, you know? I mean, if you want to try the Chipotle method, Pobiba, you could cop the soccer jersey. I still think it might be worth it. But yeah, this is, well, let's see if there's any more left.
Honestly, this, followed up by a date the next day with his crush, things were finally looking up for Subaru. He'd managed to save everyone at the loot house, start his job as a butler in the Roswell mansion,
You like this is the type of shit I'm talking about, bro. This is the type of shit I'm talking about.
Things were finally looking up for Subaru. He'd managed to save everyone at the loot house, start his job as a butler in the
This nigga is running around with no shoes on, cleaning up this dirty ass hot tub room. Like, and this has nothing to do with return by death. This is just him being weird.
Mansion, rescue a bunch of kids from mob beasts, uncurse himself, as well as getting 2 girls to fall for him. Well, at least one for sure.
Yeah, one fell for him. I honestly never really read Amelia as liking him until like maybe after the trials in season 2. You know what I mean?